cannot face his own incredible folly and the death and destruction he has caused during his White House tenure. How many more people have to die, Americans and Iraqis, until we cut them off at the pass? And when are the Democrats going to get some guts, some courage, and brains to do the right thing? President Bush started this war, but he does not want to end it on his watch. He wants to run out the clock. He's already lowering the bar for a phony, symbolic number of troops pull out to lull the American people back into their usual activities. Sure, terrorism has to be fought, but not through lies, deception, forcing misery on a people who had nothing to do with 9/11. We won the Cold War with the former Soviet Union in 60 days, but basically we were able to keep our powder dry. We won by selling ideas, the voice of America, exchange students, exchange teachers, the Pope, blue jeans, rap music. And we were able to have a Soviet leader like Mikhail Gorbachev, who saw the handwriting on the wall for his own country, and he saw the collapsing economy. Some 3,700 Americans have been killed in Iraq, which is nearly 5 years, in a war nearly 5 years old now. 27,000 wounded. So many mentally, as well as loss of limbs. And when I ask the Pentagon, which I do often, how many Iraqis were killed, they'll always give you the American casualty list, how many killed, how many wounded, how many Brits killed, and so forth. And when I ask the Pentagon how many Iraqis killed, this is the answer I get back. We don't track them. They don't count. Well, truth took a holiday in this war. The news agencies went along with the Pentagon plan, drafted, obviously, in the aftermath of the Vietnam War, with the intention that never again would the Americans hit the streets against the war. That they would so sanitize all the information, never speak of body bags, never allow any coverage at Delaware, the mortuary, where they bring in planes every night with the wounded. Never let us know what war is really about. A journalism professor at Delaware, he had been with CNN, sued under the Freedom of Information Act to force the Pentagon to release photographs of the coffins of dead American soldiers. I can assure you, every night, Arab youth see on Al Jazeera the real horror of it all. They know what's going on in Iraq, and they're getting the truth, while our networks play ball and cable play ball with the administration. To this day, Associated Press, with its great wire service, has almost a total monopoly, puts out a box every day listing the American casualties, but it never includes a line saying the Pentagon does not record dead Iraqis. Some 200 reporters, photographers, and other media aides have been killed in Iraq and Afghanistan in the last 5 years, more than in any other war we've been in. I would say doubled, in fact, in all of World War II. There's so much to say about the U.S. coverage of this war. All bad. Reporters at the White House were complicit, compliant, went along with all the falsehoods Bush could peddle in the run-up to the war. No weapons of mass destruction have been found. No threat from a third world country like Iraq to the world's only military superpower. No Saddam Hussein ties to the Al-Qaeda terrorist network. All of these falsehoods have been embedded in the American psychology now. The Washington Post wrote 40 editorials supporting this war, though they know, the answers know, how many lies were told, how much our Constitution has been abridged and breached, the torture of detainees in interrogation, denial of due process, no charge against these prisoners, no trial, no conviction. These people have been held in limbo for years and years, not allowed to contact even their families, much less a lawyer, not that they would know one. I want to know, who are we and what have we become? We do not spread liberty with the barrel of a gun. It seems to come as a surprise to this administration that some people will fight for their country, their homes, their land, even when they have a bad leader, a dictator. We are now being set up for more flim-flam on how we're making a great success in Iraq. Only 13 American soldiers were killed today in Iraq. I saw a flyer before I came. And how the president will come out in a week or so and say how we have to stay the course and how we're winning. What is winning when you're an invader, an occupier in someone else's country? I want to know. Well, the fix is in. Generals are in line, and they'll troop up to the hill next week, and they'll be the good soldiers that they are. And the president is determined, as I say, to get this war going at so much sacrifice. In many ways, it is a mercenary war, with profiteering by the military-industrial complex, which President Eisenhower warned about as he headed out the door. He warned that the military-industrial complex was going to take over the country in many ways. There are 127,000 private contractors in Iraq, each getting to the tune of $1,000 a day. We're running up a bill almost $1 trillion. Wake up, America. There is also a new drumbeat against Iran. Daily accusations and threats that we make against Iran. We have 3 naval task forces in Iran's backyard. Not only aircraft carriers, planes, missiles, submarines. The fear that Iran may develop nuclear weapons, of course, is the pressure that's on. There's no pressure on India, Pakistan, Israel, who have all refused to sign the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty and do not submit to any UN arms inspection, nor do we. And we are building a second generation, third generation of atomic weapons for use on the battlefield. We will be making a terrible mistake if we attack Iran. Speaker Nancy Pelosi has shown some courage, but she also has made some bad mistakes. Most recently, before Congress went on vacation, she pulled from consideration a resolution which demanded that the president consult with Congress before attacking Iran. And yesterday I called her press secretary and I asked, why did she do that? Since under the Constitution, only Congress can declare war. And her press secretary said, well, the wording was wrong. I said, well, couldn't she change the wording? Of course, there was pressure on her to give a free hand to the president and those who want to bomb Iran. Innocent people. Pelosi and the Senate Majority Leader, Harry Reid, also let the American people down when they allowed the president to wiretap and eavesdrop on anyone without a court warrant, which is really in defiance of the law. Jefferson said, eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. Justice Brandeis said, a constant spotlight on public officials lessens the possibility of corruption. Now I think I should lighten up, don't you? I came to Washington determined to be a reporter. And at that time, women were not quite writing hard news. Well, some were, but not too many. And they were automatically shunted to the women's pages style. So hard news with two reporters were few and far between. Unfortunately, our breaks came in World War II, when they were drafting every young man who could read. If he had a pulse, he was going to war, World War II. My great friend Liz Carpenter, who also came from the University of Texas, and she had worked on the school paper, had been an editor, also looking for a job. We went through the press building together, knocking on doors, and Liz was always on the pump side. Well, who wasn't in that era? And she wired her brother, please send me $200 or I'm going to have to sell my body. She wired back, sell it by the pound. But he did send the money. Well, women had it tough, blood, sweat, and tears. We couldn't belong to any of the professional clubs. We couldn't even go to the National Press Club because we were women. I'm still outraged that we didn't get the vote until 1920, and women marched for 70 years. They chained themselves to the White House stand. They went to jail, picketed, and so forth to get the vote in this country. Well, I'll tell you some of my favorite stories, and then I'll go to questions. A friend of mine worked for a small paper in Virginia, and every day she would call the director of the funeral home, and she would say, did anyone important die today? And his answer would always be, everyone is important to someone. Apropos of nothing, a young cub reporter was sent to cover the Johnstown flood in Pennsylvania, which was one of the worst floods in our history. And the reporter wired back the lead. God sat on the banks of Johnstown River today and cried. The editor read it, wired back, forget the flood, interview God. I'll be very happy to take your questions.